What's up guys, welcome back to another video. आज की वीडियो में हम डिस्कस करेंगे some common squat problems and how to identify them in the first place. So stay tuned and enjoy the video.
Nobody needs to tell you what is right or wrong. They don't need to tell you anything. Welcome to my world. Welcome to my world.
They call the squat the king of exercises. But it's more than that. It's the first exercise you ever did, and nobody taught you how. You invented it. We all did, even though we didn't know it had a name. Some of us stop squatting as we grow up. Others put immense load.
अच्छा जी, जब भी आप किसी भी पर्सनल ट्रेनर मैनुअल के टॉप 5 बेसिक मूवमेंट वाले चैप्टर पे जाते हैं, and when you flip to the chapter where they're discussing the basic cues for squat, these are some of the most common cues you will find. The first one being your feet should be a shoulder width apart. The second one being the angle of your torso, your back should be parallel to the angle of your tibia. Tibia is a bone which runs all the way from your knee to your ankle. The third one you'll find is never let your knees go past your toes, and this is something I'm glad has been eliminated from most of the textbooks. The fourth one you'll find is avoid butt wink, and the last one is initiate the movement via hip, which is one of the greatest cues I would say. See, all these are amazing cues, but what if you cannot apply all these cues on yourself? What if your anatomy doesn't allow you to apply all this principle on yourself? I'll give you my example. I'm 6 feet tall. It's next to impossible for me to keep my torso parallel to my tibia while I'm squatting. Initially, when I started squatting, my heels used to always leave the ground, and when I tried asking someone for the opinion, they used to always tell me either invest on a good weightlifting shoe or either keep some plates under your heel. But is this the permanent solution? In my opinion, it's like putting a band-aid on a punctured tire. I don't know how far you will get away with this in your journey. So in today's video, we'll try and address all these common problems which people encounter in their journey, and hopefully we'll be able to make some sense out of it by the end of this video. Now, before starting these tips, I would like to highlight I'm not a doctor, I'm not a physiotherapist, I'm just a regular guy. I do have some certifications at my disposal. One of them being orthopedic exercise specialist, which has given me a little bit of insight into anatomy. And just a minute. I'm not a plumber, guys, so stop calling me to fix your flush.
3 hours later.
साला वीडियो तो बनाने की सोच ली, बट ये सब्जेक्ट लाऊं कहां से?
मम्मी बाहर टीवी देख रही थी, तो आई हैड टू सेट अप एवरीथिंग ऑल ओवर हियर अगेन. So let's start with the base. We'll start with the foot, and eventually we'll make our way up to the knees, to the glutes, and to the lower back, and to shoulders in some of the people. So जब भी आप foot की बात करते हैं, it has to be very stable. In most of the kinetic chain movements, we need to make sure that we are avoiding any energy leaks in order to get the maximum performance. So whenever we are talking about the foot, it needs to act like a tripod stand. All 3 major points need to be in the contact with the ground at all the points in order to get the maximum energy. And जो मेजर कॉम्पनसेशन मैं इनकाउंटर करता हूँ वो है ओवर प्रोनेशन ऑफ द फुट. which is also known as the flat foot. So in order to find out if you have a flat foot or not, it's a very simple process. Just try and insert your fingers under the natural arc of your foot and compare them bilaterally if both of them have the same amount of gap. Another way to find out if you have a flat foot or not is to check from the back. If the Achilles tendon is running in a straight line. If it's not running in a straight line, you most probably have a flat foot. And the reason why this compensation is so dangerous because ये आपके foot को ही नहीं, ये आपकी knee, आपके hips सबको affect करता है. Because in a normal situation, जो आपका kneecap है, which is also your patella bone, is supposed to function very smoothly. Your patella is supposed to have this smooth motion between your tibia and the femur. But when you have a flat feet or the overpronation, your tibia is going to rotate inwards. Your femur is going to rotate inwards, and instead of this smooth motion, we're going to have something like, which is not going to feel pretty for sure. So जब भी हम किसी ऐसे compensation से deal कर रहे होते हैं, we need to take the entire kinetic chain into the picture. We just can't work on the foot, we need to work on the hips as well. So the major muscle you want to work over here is your posterior tibialis. Putting on a weightlifting shoe is not gonna restore the natural arc of your foot. It's just a temporary solution. We need to find a permanent solution, and not just with the foot, we need to work on the external rotation of the glutes as well, because chances are you need to restore the biomechanics of your glutes if you have been dealing with this compensation for so long, because your body has adapted to it and it has found some other way, and it's putting a strain in your lower back because your glutes are not functioning properly by this time. So we need to restore the biomechanics of your hips as well when dealing with this compensation. So we know what's the limiting factor when it comes to the foot. Let's jump onto the ankle. Your ankle. Most of the times, I think the limiting factor when it comes to your ankle is the lack of dorsiflexion. And this is something I've been personally dealing with for a long time. And trust me, it takes time to fix this one. It just doesn't take like weeks, months, it might even take a year. The mobility drills you perform in the gym are going to be a great tool to work on this dorsiflexion. You need to dedicate like at least 10 to 15 minutes, and it depends individual to individual. Your performance might take a toss. Maybe you might have a 10 to 15% decrease in your performance. But over the time, if you're able to fix this compensation, your performance will shoot up 30 or 40%. So I think it's a good trade-off. So the 5-inch wall test is a great way to find out if you have the lack of dorsiflexion. Simply what you do is like stand 5 inches away from a wall. What you can do is use your fist as a landmark and plant your feet firmly on the ground, and make sure your heel doesn't come off the ground during this whole time, and try and touch your knees to the wall. If you're able to do this, you have the proper biomechanics for the dorsiflexion. If you're not able to do this, then we need to work on your mobility. And oftentimes, it's just not the soft tissue mobilization that's gonna work. Your soleus might not be the only limiting factor which could be affecting your dorsiflexion. It could be your talus bone as well. So you need to figure out if you're getting that pinch sensation during this whole spinning process, or if it's the soft tissue mobilization work which you need to perform. And again, Dr. Aaron has covered all the mobility drills in his channel, so you can go and check it out. I'm gonna link them in the video below. Now let's jump onto your pelvis, and this is all gonna connect to your foot eventually, because the whole kinetic chain is connected in the long run. So the question which has always bothered me for years is if you're supposed to stand with your feet shoulder width apart, or is it supposed to be wider than your shoulder width apart? It depends. It depends on your anatomy. There's no one size fits all approach. The thing is, when you go deep into the anatomy of your pelvic bone, inside the acetabulum, you have your femur going in. So not all of us have the same pelvic bone. Some of us, the acetabulum is more shallow, and for some of us, it's more deep. So when you have a shallow acetabulum, it's gonna allow you to go more deep when you squat. Personally, for me, I have a more deep ball and joint connection. So I cannot go more deep than maybe just a bit past the parallel level, but my anatomy wouldn't just allow me to go more deeper than the parallel level. I cannot go all the way down with the squat. So these things depend on your anatomy as well. The other question which has always bothered me for years is if you're supposed to stand with your feet pointing straight forward, or is it supposed to be at an angle outward? Again, it depends. For all of us, the ball and socket joint connection is not same. For some of us, it's more on the forward side, and for some of us, it's more on the outer side. And again, a good way to find out if you have it more on the forward or the outer side is to check it by the hip internal and external rotation. Personally, for me, I have less of internal rotation with both the tests, which has led to the conclusion for me that I'm supposed to stand with more the feet planted more in the outer side at an angle. We have covered the foot, we have covered the ankle, we have covered the hips. What about the lumbar spine? Well, we need to make sure we have the dynamic stability of the lumbar spine, and the 3 exercises which have helped me to achieve the dynamic stability of my lumbar spine are the lower back exercises by Dr. Stuart McGill. I've been implementing this as a part of my pre-workout ritual with my mobility drills, and they have helped me to engage my TVA, which is the transverse abdominis. So I highly recommend all of you guys to add these exercises as a part of your pre-workout ritual. Your performance will go way up. I have included these 3 exercises as a part of my pre-workout ritual, and trust me, they have done wonders. I've been able to engage my core way more during all these compound lifts, and I don't need to wear a belt until and unless it's not my 1 rep max attempt or something. I'm way off better without the belt because I'm able to engage my core in a better way. Now that we have an idea what might be limiting us in our ability to squat, let's do this. Bob's brain.
Yeah, this is the muscle department. What the hell is he doing?
Apparently he's trying to squat.
He got winded walking to the plate. And he's been out in the blazing sun for 2 days. Has he had any water?
He just had some Haldiram and Oreo milkshake.
Well, I'm sorry. I got no choice but to call for a complete muscle failure.
Can't take it all, can't just do what they want. Whatever they believe, you never judge someone. Nobody needs to tell you what is right or wrong. They don't need to tell you anything.